6 things that you should do when your nest egg reaches $250,000. Now, do not let that scare you if you're not quite there yet. If you're not to that $250,000 mark in your retirement nest egg. If you're well above that, don't make that make you want to tune out, you know? Let it inspire you and give you some encouragement of things that you can do before you get there. If you've already gotten there and surpassed that $250,000 mark, maybe perhaps these are some things that you have not done quite yet. So no matter what the size of your nest egg, this is for you potentially. So everybody should be able to get something out of this. And let's just tackle it, shall we? 6 things to do when your nest egg reaches 250K or above or below. So almost any amount. Here we go. Number 1, use the proper accounts to save for your retirement. I mean, of course you don't just want to be putting money away in random, low yield savings account or even a high yield savings account. Because yeah, I mean, your money will be making money if it's in a savings account, but it's not ever going to keep pace with inflation. And you're not going to see growth that is going to be meaningful to the point where, oh, I can actually go and use this for my retirement, because there are other vehicles that are going to give you so much more growth over the long term. Job-related programs, for example, consider, building assets outside of the traditional job-related programs like your 401k, because those are going to be something that will saddle you with a future tax burden. You're not paying taxes on it now, but you will pay taxes on it later when you make the withdrawals in retirement, right? It's pre-tax money now. But I'm not saying don't contribute to your 401k. Absolutely do. Contribute to it. Make sure you do enough to get your employer match, but diversify beyond that, right? Consider a Roth IRA. That is a tax-advantaged account, much like, a 401k is a tax-advantaged account. They're just tax-advantaged in different ways. So with 401k, you don't pay taxes on it now. That money is taken out pre-tax, right, and put into your 401k account. And then it grows, with the market, whatever funds you're invested in and all of that stuff. And if you want to see that, of course, you can go to your 401k provider and go to the website, log in there, and you should be able to see all of that information. So you've got that. Then on the other hand, you have a Roth IRA, which you contribute to with after-tax dollars. But once you're in retirement, there's no tax when you make those withdrawals. There are some caveats there. Of course, it's got to have been in place for 5 years and all of that. Like the account has to have been in existence for over 5 years, or at least 5 years, I should say, and some other things. But when you make those withdrawals in retirement, they're not going to be taxed. So tax-free income in retirement, boy, that's great. The best kind of money, free money. The second best kind of money, tax-free money. Music to my ears. Number 2 here on the list of things you should do when your nest egg reaches 250K or thereabouts, be mindful of taxes, speaking of which, and how they're going to affect your future. Now, as I was just saying, we often think about taxes now. Of course, you go shopping, you pay sales tax, and it differs county by county. At least here in the metro Atlanta area, it differs county by county. It can be a big swing. I, used to live in New Jersey, and then there wasn't a sales tax there. In Florida, there was no, income tax on the state level. So it's like there are different rules and regulations in different places. But when you're planning for your future, the big thing that you want to be looking out for, of course, is income tax. Is this going to be taxable as income in retirement? And understand how the withdrawals from those retirement accounts could place you in a higher tax bracket during retirement. So if you have a higher income, you'll be in a higher tax bracket. And then, therefore, whatever is taxable, you can be taxed at a higher rate as a result. So don't get yourself into sort of a false sense of security by saying, oh, I have $100,000 in this account. This may be this 401k. Like, no, not really. You've got maybe $80,000. because the rest of it will belong to the government because that's the amount that's going to be taxed thereabouts, right? And those are just example amounts that don't really mean anything other than an illustration, right? I'm not trying to say this is you, this is, for your particular situation or anything like that. But what you want to do is balance your tax buckets, right? And so let's imagine you've got 3 buckets. Well, I find, and here are their labels on those buckets, right? You've got tax deferred, you've got taxable, and you've got tax free. So many people have too much money. They're mostly invested in tax deferred retirement accounts. So that's like your 401k, as I mentioned a minute ago. Other examples would be a traditional IRA, a 403b, a 457, a SEP, or a simple IRA. Those are some of these accounts that are made with pre-tax contributions. So they don't get taxed now, but it gets taxed later. You get taxed on the harvest rather than on the seed in the beginning. Now, taxable buckets, the taxable accounts rather, are investment accounts that are outside your traditional retirement accounts. So that's maybe a brokerage account, something along those lines, which is you invest in that with after-tax dollars, and then in the future, it's also going to be taxed, right? After the growth happens. So it's taxed in the beginning and in the end. Then there is my favorite of these 3 buckets, the tax-free bucket. Investments like the Roth IRA, as I was mentioning a few minutes ago, an index universal life policy. Yeah, I said life insurance. It's tax-free, and not only a tax-free death benefit, but this particular type of life insurance policy that I'm talking about, indexed universal life, is something that you can use to create a stream of income in your retirement years. And basically, it's by taking loans periodically from the life insurance policy. And those are loans that you never intend to pay back and never have to. I can explain how all of that works, of course. Just go to takeprideinretirement.com, contact me, and I'll let you know all about it. All right. And of course, we'll talk about it on future shows as well in a little bit more depth. But I mean, Roth IRAs and life insurance are the only 2 truly tax-free investments available today. And it's important really to get your 401k or whatever investment accounts or retirement accounts you have working as hard as you do. You want to be having your money work as hard for you as you work for it, right? And so I really want to invite you to give me a call or go to the website and get a free 401k review so that I can put it through an analysis, analyze any fees that you're paying, the risk you're taking, the overall performance of your portfolio. Just give me a call, 855-246-9211, 855-246-9211. You can also reach out at the website, takeprideinretirement.com. All right, number 3 is to diversify whenever possible. I mentioned this a little bit earlier of being diversified in different types of accounts. You also want to be diversified in different sectors, of course, in your stock portfolio. You don't want to be all in tech or all in, healthcare stocks or all, whatever. You want to diversify across everything. But you also want to be invested in different types of accounts to diversify things. So you want to be invested in things like stocks, fixed indexed annuities, MIGAs, which is a multi-year guaranteed annuity, brokerage CDs, for example, structured notes, maybe real estate also, which is another great investment, of course. And that would be to manage and the risks that you might otherwise be facing, because the more diversified you are, the less risk you are taking that if one of those accounts goes south or one of those sectors goes south and the bottom just falls out, you're protected because you are diversified. You don't have all your eggs in one basket, right? You want to enhance your overall growth potential by diversifying. And, I said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, the same is true when investing for retirement, not just when you're at the grocery store. So when you diversify your investments, you reduce that overall risk of loss. Number 4 here is to incorporate steady income sources. And here's the thing. Some people who I won't name names because they're I don't know, more well-known than me, but some people out there have spent years bad mouthing annuities. And after listening to the way that they badmouth annuities, um, it's because they don't understand the way that annuities work, and or it's because they focus on one particular type of annuity called a variable annuity, which I generally refer to as a scariable annuity, because it's not something that I would recommend ever at all. But because of the fact that variable annuities, they have high fees and other different things that really don't make the juice worth the squeeze in a lot of cases, right? Um, and your money is at risk. All of that money is at risk in the market anyway. So it's different than a traditional fixed annuity or fixed indexed annuity, which I'll talk about momentarily. But because of the reputation that variable annuities have, and some of that is justified, of course, that means that these big name people have been bad mouthing all annuities. They don't just say, oh, stay away from variable annuities. They say, stay away from all annuities. And that's just wrong. That's just absolutely wrong. And that goes to show you these people are making those types of blanket statements like that are not fiduciary financial advisors. They are acting like they are fiduciary financial advisors by telling you and everybody else to avoid this entire category of retirement planning, but they are not, because it is not fiduciary financial advice to be based on your particular situation, and that is not it. An annuity of any type might be great for somebody's particular portfolio, but not great for somebody else. And the reason for that is because everybody's different. That's the reason for all of this. It's got to be personalized financial advice. So people who issue these blanket statements, oh, all annuities are bad. No, do not listen to them. They do not know what they're talking about, and or they don't offer them, and or they don't that they have skin in the game with some other type of investment or something else, and they don't like it for that reason because they're paid not to like it, for example. Anyway, enough about that. That's my little soapbox on the anti-annuity crowd out there. But all annuities are not bad in my experience. Take, for example, a fixed indexed annuity, which I just mentioned. They're pretty sophisticated investments that can provide a stable income and reduce a percentage of your portfolio's risk to market fluctuations. So reducing that market risk by investing in fixed indexed annuities is something that I help people do all the time. And you can also, with a fixed indexed annuity, create an income stream, a personal pension, for example, from your fixed indexed annuity in retirement. You couple that with Social Security, if you're lucky enough to have pension income, part-time work, maybe if that's what you want to do, rental property income, and more, then you've got multiple income streams in retirement. That gives you a lot of peace of mind, and that's something that you cannot put a price on. Number 5 is to protect yourself against inflation. See why I told you that this is something that not only if your portfolio has reached $250,000 that you need to pay attention to, and pretty much everybody, as we've all learned, needs to be looking out for this. Inflation has reared its ugly head for a couple of years now, and we want it to not do that, all of us. But the fact of the matter is, we can't really control it. These macroeconomic issues are not something that you or I can control. But what we can control is having a plan in place to deal with inflation. And one way to do that is to regularly look and adjust your portfolio, rebalance things. Do that periodically to maintain your alignment with your inflation protection strategy. Stay invested as well, because some people like to get emotional about investments. And look, don't invest with emotion. That's probably the worst thing that you could do. A lot of people fear the markets. They fear market fluctuations and either resort to ultra conservative strategies like converting just all to cash. They're going to put it in the savings account and be done with it, or worse, under the mattress so it doesn't gain anything, or they put it in a bank CD or something like that. You really should stay invested. Don't invest with emotion. Invest with your brain, and invest with your financial advisor's brain, right? Use them, which hopefully it's me. And if it's not, go to takeprideinretirement.com and make it me. Okay. But you really should stay invested, and that's to protect your future buying power, because over time, the markets go up. They've gone way, way up over the years and over the decades. So you're looking at long term. Investing is long term. This is not the Wall Street casino. This is not the Las Vegas casino relocated to Wall Street. This is investing for the long term. And so you want to give yourself time to grow, and doing that, you want to stay invested. You don't want to take funds out of a retirement account that could see a lot of growth and just make it, I don't know, take away the potential future growth by getting out of the markets and getting into something that's not going to grow nearly as much. That's the bottom line. And when you protect a portion of your hard-earned savings for your retirement with a fixed indexed annuity, like I was talking about, you can let the rest of your portfolio stay invested so that it has the potential to grow over time with the market. And then the fixed indexed annuity itself can experience market-like growth as a portion of the market's growth, whatever index it's tied to. It's not actually invested in a particular index, but the growth in that account is tied to a particular index, say the S&P 500. And so when that index goes up, you get a good portion of that growth. When that index goes down, you see zero loss. You've got that protection, the downside protection, with the upside potential as well. So that's one of the advantages of something like a fixed indexed annuity. And number 6, this one is my favorite. It is number 6, and it's to meet with a financial advisor or a professional who can help. I like that one, not just because it's what I do, but because I think it's really important, right? If you have a financial advisor, are they regularly reviewing your investment strategy? And are they involving you in that process? Because it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way thing. It's not your advisor just telling you what to do and you can't saying, okay. It's, when I work with somebody, they got to be comfortable with what we're doing. It's a two-way street in that way. So what I like to do is, at the very least, annually review portfolios. I like to do it every 6 months, but review your investment strategy and your retirement budget, and do that with a professional like myself to ensure proper diversification and risk management. Also, set clear goals. And again, I'll say it, work with your advisor to set specific, measurable goals for your retirement savings and your investment returns. Specific goals and measurable goals that you need to reach along the way. And then, of course, if you miss one of those goals, or if something happens in the market or whatever, you can make adjustments as you go along, because it's not a set it and forget it type situation. It is very much a set it, let it do its thing, make adjustments along the way if needed kind of a thing. And that's what happens when you work with a fiduciary financial advisor who works on your behalf, not anybody else's. And again, just call the number. It is 855-246-9211, 855-246-9211. You can also go to takeprideinretirement.com. That number, again, takeprideinretirement.com, or just email me at matt@takeprideinretirement.com. That's the email address. Of course, my first name is Matt. The domain is takeprideinretirement.com. So Matt@takeprideinretirement.com. It makes sense, right?